Welcome to Good to Know, Pinellas County's eSeries presentation on the programs and services provided by your county. I'm your host, Tom Iavino of the Pinellas County Communications Department. For the next 15 minutes, we'll learn about a county department that helps protect residents from scam artists, charities that aren't so charitable, and unscrupulous sales practices. Joining us today is Doug Templeton, Chief Investigator with Pinellas County's Department of Justice and Consumer Services. Welcome, Doug. How you doing today?
Good, thank you.
Good. Thank you very much for coming out.
Sure.
Now, Doug, tell me, what does the Department of Consumer Protection do for residents in Pinellas County?
Consumer protection has three primary functions. The first being dispute resolution. We handle consumer business complaints. Consumers are able to file a complaint with us. We'll investigate to determine if there's any type of violation of the statutes. A lot of times consumers have a complaint against a motor vehicle repair shop or a telephone company, and they want to just file a complaint because they're not able to get anywhere trying to work it out with the business themselves. They can file with us, and one of our investigators in our dispute resolution section would try to facilitate a resolution through mediation. They're all Supreme Court certified mediators. So they can reach out to the company and either through a telephone conference, an in-person meeting, or out in the field, we'd actually go out, try to help the parties resolve the situation. We also have a criminal investigation section. If it's found that a consumer fraud crime occurred that we can investigate, then that would be assigned to them to look into further. We work with the state attorney's office, directly their consumer fraud unit, and recommend charges to them, ultimately hoping that they're able to prosecute and seek restitution for the victim. Okay. And finally, we also have oversight of several county ordinances, including bingo and adult use establishments, which we register, as well as fortune telling, charitable solicitations, price gouging, moving, pain management.
Okay, good. So you guys cover a broad spectrum of consumer-related issues.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's talk about some of when you talk about going to a retail store or trying to buy something. What are some of the biggest scams that people see, and what do you want people to look out for?
A lot of times going in the store, you know, on any type of consumer transaction, we want folks to be prepared as much as they can be. So doing their homework before they go, whether it's for a home improvement purchase or whether it's for going to a retail establishment, you want to know what their return, exchange, refund policy is. Florida law requires that if a refund policy exists, that the store has that, that they provide that to you. So that may be at the point of sale, whether it's on your receipt, whether it's at the actual cash register. Okay. You know, when you check out, that information should be available upon request. So there's a lot of stores that for certain electronic appliances, they may require a restocking fee of some sort. So if you go in, buy a laptop, take it home and decide it was kind of an impulse purchase, maybe I shouldn't have done this, then you have an issue of there may be a restocking fee, 15, 20% even. So you got to be cautious with that kind of thing.
Definitely wise to read ahead and to read the fine print on all these purchases. What are some of the frequently seen scams you'll see, though? I mean, are there any like bait and switch type of things you see, or?
You do see those. You know, we get a lot of complaints on online shopping. You know, when folks go to websites, you know, whether it's local or not, you know, you always have to be cautious. There's certain things that folks can look for when they go to a website, such as just when they're checking out, to make sure it's a secure transaction. Your credit card information is encrypted. Make sure it's HTTPS in the browser and the URL. There should be a little lock there as well that indicates that it's a secure transaction. When folks go to these websites, usually you have to create some type of even as a guest, a user ID, which may be an email, and then a password also. We strongly caution folks against using the same password because if your information were to get into the wrong hands, you can pretty much guarantee they're going to attempt, you know, whether it's Amazon, eBay, Best Buy, they're going to go to these other websites and attempt to utilize that information, that user ID, that password. And once they do, you know, when you go through the checkout process, a lot of time your information is stored. You may have your credit card information on file already. So when they go there, they simply change the shipping address, and you know, you don't know about it till 3 or 4 weeks later when your credit card
statement. Sure.
So you know, you don't want to use a debit card, of course, online because that's there's less protections for consumers. But credit cards, you're usually protected. It's just you want to take as many steps as you can on the front end to prevent anything like that happening.
And now it's a prevention, obviously worth a pound of cure in this case.
You got it. You got it.
Now you're talking larger purchases. Let's talk about something like auto repair, purchasing an auto, or getting some sort of home improvement thing done, a new roof, a new, I don't know, paint job or something like that. What do people need to look out for those? This seems like a larger ticket item. Seems as a bigger opportunity for abuse there.
Exactly. Home improvement scams, those are some of the we see quite a few of those complaints on a regular basis, and with that comes a lot of unlicensed contractors. So there's several things we would certainly recommend to consumers before entering into the remodel or even a home purchase, just because that's probably one of the biggest investments they'll make in their lifetime. And when doing that, you want to make sure that you are checking their license status. Do they actually have a license? Just because they claim to have one doesn't mean they necessarily do. What's the status of their license?
Sure.
Are they in good standing with the licensing board? Locally, we do have a construction licensing board in Pinellas County here, and folks can go online to their website and find out if they have a license, if it's active, if it's current.
Hey, can you give us that website?
Sure, it's www.pcclb.com.
Okay, and you can search by the name of the company?
Exactly.
Okay.
By trade or by name of the company. They can also go to the state's website. The Department of Business and Professional Regulation regulates a state level license. They go to www.myfloridalicense.com, and they can research there as well for that information. So they can call our department, of course. We can give them, if we have any complaints against the company, we can tell them the history, the disposition of those complaints, how they were resolved, if they were resolved, and the number of complaints. Our database goes back 5 years, and they are public records, so if somebody would want to review those complaints, again, to be more educated on that decision that they're going to make, do as much research as you can and investigate into that further.
Yeah, I mean, that's a major purchase when you're talking about some of these items. These home improvement items can be several tens of thousands of dollars on top of it. So making sure you've got the right contractor.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then when you have folks who come up, you may be at your home, working in your yard or inside your home, and somebody comes up knocking unsolicited. One of the complaints that we receive a lot is home solicitation complaints.
That does happen a lot more than you think.
Sure, sure. We see folks who, they may be out in the yard working and someone approaches them and says, hey, I was just at your neighbor Mary's house. She had me coat her driveway. It's your lucky day. I've got some extra supplies, some extra product. I can cut you a deal. How about $200? I paint your driveway today. And of course, in Pinellas County, that does require a license. But more importantly, when they come up unsolicited like that, you don't have a prior business relationship. They're required to have a home solicitation permit. It's a state law, and it's a permit that's issued by the clerk of the court. So anyone offering services or goods more than $25 has to have this permit if they come up unsolicited. So we have a lot of consumers, a lot of our senior population, they're home during the day. They get approached by a vacuum salesman, like you said, the home improvement, roof inspection, AC, water treatment, those kind of salesmen that come up. And I can tell you, the majority of those folks going door to door don't have the proper permit. There's quite a background check and process you have to go through to get that. And since they don't, those are criminal penalties that we would investigate.
Wow.
So when somebody approaches you, it's First of all, to give yourself time to think about it, it's probably best to ask for information and close the door, or don't answer the door. If they want to leave you information, that's great. You can review it and take your time. However, if you do enter into an agreement with someone, say they have that extra product that they can cut a deal for you on, we've had situations where folks will, they agree to $200, the crew's out there doing the work, and then you've got 4 individuals show up at your door saying, okay, we're here to collect payment. Where's the $600 you owe us? And that can be an intimidating situation for someone to be in, to not know what to do. And a lot of times they end up paying just because of the fear factor there. So, they need to have that permit. On top of that, you're also required to provide a 3-day right to cancel if you are going door to door. So they kind of go hand in hand a lot of times. They don't have the permit. They don't give the proper disclaimer that you have 3-day right to cancel. Those are 2 separate criminal charges that we can investigate and can pursue against those individuals.
And I know that after, say, a tornado or a hurricane or something like that, there's always somebody driving door to door with a chainsaw.
Exactly.
Trying to, I'll trim your tree for you.
Sure.
I mean, there's a lot of danger in that, because if they don't have insurance, you could be on the hook if something happens, right?
You got it. If they get hurt, if any of their crew gets hurt, those are all things that, again, the local licensing board would make sure they have the proper workman comp, liability insurance. Even post Debbie just a few months ago, we were out in the neighborhoods that were affected, and we saw quite a few individuals out there who were not licensed trying to take advantage. And if you contract during a state of emergency, as it was then, that bumps the typical charge of unlicensed contracting from a first-degree misdemeanor to a third-degree felony.
Wow. So
important to report that. We have had some folks who've fallen victim to that in the past, but it's important to know who you're dealing with. Again, doing your research on the front end, making sure they have the proper license and are properly qualified to do the type of work they claim.
Now, another thing you guys mentioned that you look at after are the are charities, people who solicit for charitable contributions. And, it could be any time of the year. It could be during the holidays. It could be any time during the year. What are some of the things people should look for if somebody wants to approach them about donating to a charity? And maybe something that may be near and dear to the heart, either serving the service members or overseas or a local Boy or Girl Scout troop.
Sure.
What should you be looking for?
Well, consumers, again, as with any consumer transaction, to be, as prepared as possible to do as much research as you can on these types of things. Luckily in Florida, the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services regulates charitable solicitations. And they put out a document annually, and this includes anyone who's soliciting consumers in the state of Florida, regardless of where the event occurred or post-disaster, if it's another state. If they're soliciting Floridians, then they're required to register with the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. They have an annual document called the Gift Giver's Guide that they put out. This document has 3 important pieces of information about charities that is really a key for consumers to review before they would consider donating. It advises consumers as to how much of their donation goes to the actual program or services that charity provides. Another piece to that is the administrative cost to run the charity.
Sure.
And third is the fundraising effort that, the additional cost of hiring someone to solicit donations on your behalf. So you've got charities where 5% of your donation goes to the program services, and others at 95% goes. So you really have to be cautious. A lot of times they may have a name similar to a well-known charity, and so you want to make sure that you're dealing with who you think you're dealing with. And
that's critical because you get so many charities that are almost copycat names.
Exactly.
And it could be a legitimate nationwide charity, and it sounds so close.
Sure.
That they pull you in that way. Now, earlier you'd mentioned something about your conflict resolution.
Dispute resolution.
Dispute resolution, that's it, dispute resolution. How successful has that program been, and what's a typical outcome?
A lot of times I think it depends on the parties when they come into or when they filed a complaint. You've got consumers who maybe they've already been dealing with a used car lot or their telephone company, and they're calling customer service or they're speaking to that frontline manager, and they're really not getting anywhere, or they feel like they're just kind of spinning their wheels. So when they come to us as a third party, mediator to kind of come into play, we try to take the emotion out of it and really let's look at the facts, let's look at the numbers, what this is really about, and try and delve into that. And we caucus with both sides, step to the side and basically discuss with them, what they're looking to have come from this, and are we even in the ballpark? Are we even close to maybe resolving this? So we're quite successful in getting those parties to talk, at least make it about, not about emotion, and make it about what the actual complaint is, whether it's quality of work or whether it's a dispute over payments, those kind of things. A lot of times it's just parties wanting to be able to, a consumer wanting the business to hear their side of things, to have a voice, to know that they're not getting stopped at that frontline customer service. So we typically are able to reach out and deal with upper level management or the customer service operations at businesses and, get some sort of resolve for the consumer, at least to where if they haven't been able to resolve it to their complete satisfaction, at least their voice has been heard.
Okay. We're getting close to the end of our time. Is there anything else you'd like to tell our viewers about consumer protection? What key messages do you want them to take away from today?
Just that we're a free county service. You know, we're there. If they want to check on a complaint, if they have any questions, there's always an investigator 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, available to speak with them. If it's a service or a problem that we don't typically investigate, then we can certainly refer them to the appropriate agency. We can take their complaint. It can be online through our website at www.pinellascounty.org/consumer. And it'll instruct them on the details of how to file a complaint. We also have a lot of great information there where they can research. Again, we have links to all these different agencies that we've been talking about today, and they can research a complaint history. If nothing else, just do some, a little bit of effort on the front end, a little bit of research could save them huge amounts of time, money, angst in the end.
Yeah, that's definitely a critical thing, and thank you very much, Doug, for coming out today. This is really important information. We're looking forward to getting this out to the residents of Pinellas County.
Thank you.
If you would like to see a repeat of this presentation, visit www.pinellascounty.org/eSeries. If you'd like more information on how to become a safer shopper, visit the Pinellas County Consumer Protection homepage at www.pinellascounty.org/consumer. And if you have any questions about today's topic, be sure to email them to communications-media1@pinellascounty.org, and we'll be sure to get right back with you. Join us again for the next Good to Know eSeries right here on PCC TV. Thanks for watching.